continuing series, Breaking Barriers to a Healthier You. I am so grateful that everyone took time out to join us on this journey, continue to join us on this journey, being planned by the Myrtle Collaboration team. My name is Jacqueline Charlton, and I'm one of the team members who help to coordinate these continuing events. We also have Lucy Samuels, we have Ishmael Carter, Karen Forrester on the call right now, who are also part of the team, and Jennifer Wilson, who is our coach. So thank you again for joining us. And I'm going to hand over to our lead pastor, Reverend Patrick O'Connell, who is going to lead us in prayer and welcome our guest speaker for this evening.
So good evening, everyone. I'm Patrick O'Connell. I see some faces on the line that are new, and welcome to First Church, and welcome to what's been a really wonderful and innovative series. Congratulations to our Myrtle team. So let me pray, and then I'll introduce the special guests for this evening. Lord, we invite you into the spaces where we're connecting from. We invite you into our bodies and into our souls. You know, God, as we go through the cycle of our days and the cycle of the seasons and of the different life events that we experience, sometimes even the most energized of us has a way of feeling deflated and defeated. Teach us tonight skills, teach us tonight how to empower ourselves so that we might continue this rich journey of life and do special things with our lives and through our lives for humanity. Guide us, we pray. In Jesus' name, amen.
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 Amen. So welcome, everyone. Thank you again for joining us in this series called Breaking Barriers for a Healthier You. And tonight it is my joy to introduce to you a colleague of our coach, Jennifer Wilson, Kevin Young. Kevin is a professional certified coach with the International Coaching Federation. He has his own coaching practice. But here's what happens when you connect with Kevin. Your self-confidence and self-awareness grows. You release money shame issues, and now you have money in the bank. Your relationships get better. Your health, your strength gets better. You feel more centered and balanced. You're able to listen to what we preachers like to talk about, that still small voice. You're able to channel your energy in ways that allows you to connect whether with an big audience or to succeed at your job and to have the ability to find peace in any situation. The reason this is possible because Kevin starts with who I am and who you are, and teaches us how to empower ourselves. And so this evening, we're in for a really wonderful treat by someone who is gifted and skilled, but also by someone who is committed to ensuring that wherever you start, he doesn't leave you there. He takes you on a journey of health and wellness and wholeness. And so if you can wave or smile or nod your head, let's greet Kevin in a big way this evening. And welcome, Kevin.
Thank you. Thank you, Reverend O'Connor. Wow, that was, I'm gonna have to get over your introduction. Give me a minute. That was beautiful. Thank you very much. I'm truly honored to be here. I've been on the spiritual path for a while now, and I love what I do. I came from a technology background, which was pretty kind of black and white, and being able to now work with people in not only the day-to-day life, but now in the spiritual realm, which is really my passion. It means everything to me. And to be able to share this information with all of you who are all leaders in your community, whether or not you do or not, pat yourself on the back because you are. We're on this leading edge together, and I will do everything I can to share what I know today about emotional health and what I've done to bring myself into alignment, into harmony with what I call my inner being, my higher self, because that's where all the magic seems to happen. And so with that, let's just jump right into what we're going to do today. And by the way, before I do that, we're not doing the breakout rooms, which I believe you guys are used to, those who have been on these calls. But the reason I asked not to do that is because I would prefer to have a live interaction where your questions or your comments are available to the group, everyone. What I've discovered is as a group, when I do group programs, the more we can get into the same vibrational harmony, we already are, just the fact that we're on this call. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But the more that we can raise that, excuse me, the vibration, I mean, then the better the communication is. Everything just seems to work out when we do this. So this is interactive. Please feel free to press the little raise hand button on your Zoom screen. I don't know if you guys have been, I think you've done that before. So if not, then you can go ahead and put something in the chat window. Jennifer's kindly offered to monitor that, and she can interrupt me or just unmute yourself and jump in. I really like to have interactive conversation because I can talk all day. This came from what we used to do was a 6-hour workshop. So I squeezed it down to what, over time I've learned how to pull out the essentials, and I don't want to overload you with information. So I want it to make sense. So please take what makes sense and then leave the rest on the table, and then we'll all have a good time together. So let me get my magic screen up here. There we go. And hopefully you guys can see that. Let me know if it doesn't look. I've got to rearrange my screen so I can actually see your pretty faces. There we go. So my wife and I, Suzanne, have run personal success programs for over a dozen years now. I came from the technology world, had an IT company for a few dozen years or so. And when we met and got married in 2007, we both knew that there was something larger on the horizon. So over time, I then eventually shifted out of that, the technology and into this. But this is, as I said at the beginning, is my true passion here. And so what we're going to do today is we will be talking about emotions. The core of mental health is the emotions. So what are emotions? How do they work? Like what is even an emotion? And why do we have them? There are very good reasons that this universe was put together the way it was, and the emotions that we have are the core of getting everything that you want in life and having a joyful life. But most people aren't taught how to manage them, even what they mean. And so we'll try to clarify that today, get some new knowledge, and then bring you some tools as to what to do with the emotions. Emotions are your guidance system. We'll get into that. What does that even mean? How do you tap into those emotions on a more consistent basis? The law of attraction, which I think most of you know about, it's a core piece. Emotions tie directly into the law of attraction. We'll do a little bit on that. And again, if you have questions or if there's something that I say, maybe use terminology doesn't make sense, just please ask, because I don't want to go on assuming that you know what I'm talking about. Dealing with anger, there's a lot of different emotions, but we're down in these lower emotions of anger and frustration and fear. So how to deal with those specifically and then give them a new life, how to bring them up out of the depths so we can feel back in control of our lives. And then I'll leave you with 5 tools to help you feel better quickly, things that you can take in a practical sense and put into practice right away. What I'm hoping you're going to take away today is a better understanding of your emotions, what they mean, how to use them. You'll have more clarity because when we manage the emotions, we actually naturally open up the channel to clarity. You'll feel more in charge of your life because you'll be able to set a focus, manage the emotions, and then attract the things that have eluded you in the past. And then you'll have those 5 tools that'll help you manage your feelings. And my sincere intent is that by the time we're done, you'll actually feel better than you do right now. So hold me to that, okay? Now what I'd like to do with you is we're going to do a quick guided meditation. Now you don't have to do anything. Your job is to just sit back, close your eyes, relax, breathe nice and deeply, and then follow my words, okay? So we'll just do this for a couple of minutes. So get nice and comfortable. Close your eyes, relax. Take a nice deep breath in, filling your lungs completely. Breathe out. And with each breath in, feeling yourself drop a little bit deeper. Just feeling this relaxation kind of ripple through your body. Letting go of the weight of the world, any tension that you're still hanging on to, just let that roll away. And you can feel this wave of relaxation just entering through the top of your head, relaxing each muscle that it touches as it moves through your temple and your jaw, down the throat, down the back, relaxing the muscles in the back, down the neck and the shoulders, feeling your shoulders drop, flowing down the arms, forearms, out the hands, just like a wave of warm water, just washing away the negative energy and any tension that's left over. Feeling that energy flow into your lungs now as you breathe it in, moving into the heart, down into the solar plexus, down into the abdomen. It's carrying with it any residual energies that are no longer necessary. Going down your legs, past the knees, the calves, the feet, and out the bottoms of your feet, down into the earth, connecting in with the planet, feeling that energy just wash away, letting the planet support you, the immense amount of nature and positive energy that's there. Tuning into this energy, letting it support us. Feeling that energy reflect back up and filling our bodies up completely with the Earth's energy, and now opening up to spiritual source energy, opening your heart up, surrendering any negative thoughts, feeling yourself opening up, letting in the higher realms, feeling energy raise, feeling your consciousness raise, feeling yourself connect in with the angelic realm, the spiritual realm, those who want to play with us today, those who will guide our actions for the best and the highest good of all. Feeling yourself connecting with your neighbors on this call, raising to a common vibration so we all benefit. And this energy you can carry with you beyond this call out into the world and share with those you come in contact with. As Reverend O'Connor said, you share it with whoever you come in contact with. You become the light workers, the way showers, and share this good energy so that everyone can get a little taste of it. And then they share it with the people they come in contact with. And this ripple effect goes out across the planet and helps in the healing. And as we bring our attention back into the room, back into our bodies, become conscious of who we are, feeling the arms and legs, fingers and toes, but maintaining that high vibrational connection throughout the duration of the call and beyond. I do these meditations every day or every week in our weekly private Facebook group, and it always takes a few minutes to come back to normalcy here. So no rush in coming back. I admire how quickly this group can get into meditation. I can feel your energy raising. I can see how connected you still are. You're doing a lot of good in the world just by being yourselves. So I'm going to tell you just a little bit about my journey, how I got here. Only take a couple of minutes. What I call my wake-up call. We all had one at some point in our lives. For me, it was in fall of 2008. I came home from a IT client and the side of my face actually got cold, went numb. I thought it was the weather and I ignored it, went away. And then next day it came back and I got a little concerned because it wouldn't go away. So I saw my doctor who said, go see a neurologist. I saw the neurologist. He said, get an MRI. And this is all in the space of a short amount of time. And then the MRI came back and guess what they found? Brain tumor that was about 2 centimeters, something like that, growing on my balance nerve behind my ear. It was crushing the facial nerve, so that's why I was losing sensation. I had lost balance already, didn't know it, and I had the risk of affecting my hearing. So that wasn't fun. So we went to a doctor, another doctor who could do surgery, and didn't like him at all. He was very cold kind of energy. And so he said, it's not cancerous, so you can let it heal and try to heal if you want. And so I did that for the next many months. We went into hypnotherapy and alternative healings and so forth, and it helped for a bit, but just wasn't doing the job. And finally started getting worse and worse. And by the summertime, I was having headaches, and I knew that I was going to potentially lose my life if this continued on. So I let go of the fear because I was going to lose my hearing. They had to do surgery, pull me open, and cut off the nerves where the tumor was. And I didn't want that, but finally said, you know what? I got to surrender it, hand it over to God, and just say, okay, you know what? I'm going to live with whatever I live with because I need to have the rest of my life. And so in a few weeks, all the resources showed up. We found out that a hospital was nearby that would do the surgery. We were going to go to California, which is 2,000 miles away. Turned out they had a state-of-the-art neurological facility that had just moved into a building even closer to our house, about 10 minutes. And so the doctor was wonderful and everything was just magnificent. And what I realized, it was my first law of attraction lesson. I realized that by hanging on to what I didn't want and focusing so intensely on the negative, that I was preventing myself from seeing the guidance that would lead me to the easy outcome. Just by having let go of the fear and the worry of the loss, the doctor showed up, the hospital showed up, and that fall I had surgery. And it was 7 hours, and they removed it. I don't hear on this side, but nobody can tell because my intuition kicked in as a result of losing my hearing. And now I'm much more tuned in to my surroundings. I'm much more tuned in to spiritual consciousness, all as a result of that. So it was a perfect unfolding. So that awakening was very important for me. That became the step also to my spiritual awakening, which was, I didn't have a religious background, so I didn't know anything about what I'm talking about today. I had to come at it from more practical sense, which was the works of channeled works through Jerry and Esther Hicks, people who Esther actually invites in spiritual consciousness. She's been doing that for 30 some years. And I found that the week after I was diagnosed with a brain tumor. So God puts the solution when you have the problem instantaneously. The question is, whether you pick it up. And that's what we're talking about today, is how to get into that tuning. And so from this, I learned the practical aspects of how our emotions work, the law of attraction, the emotional scale, and how to get back into harmony. And then that allowed me to move into the spiritual aspect, so I could make my own connection with God. I had to come through the scientific aspect. And that also opened then up a new career, as Reverend O'Connor said at the beginning, to my professional coaching certification. Coaching being the profession of helping people help themselves. I don't give advice to anybody. I don't tell them what to do, because I don't know, honestly. But your inner being, your higher self, does know. And so the coaching profession, which is very it's regulated, there's a code of ethics and so forth about how you approach coaching, is helps the coach be the support system and not the main event. So you're the main event. We just help you help yourself find that harmony. And so I combine coaching, the toolkit and the mechanics of coaching, with my understanding of higher consciousness, how emotions work, how attraction works. And this whole combination really is my joy, because then with this combination of tools, it helps me to help other people who are ready to step into the spiritual realm as well. Because if you're not, then it doesn't really connect. There are coaches who don't work in the spiritual realm who are very good, but I like the combination because it really is, I'm very passionate about it. So that's my little journey as to how I've gotten today. And even now I'm starting to expand beyond taking individual clients, because my emotional guidance is telling me I'm sticking myself into a box again, feeling the box start to close in. So it's time to shed the old skin and once again see what the path is that's unfolding in front of me, and trust that God puts steps in right in front of you, and all you got to do is get in tune and trust in the unfolding, and the unfolding shows up. As Martin Luther King said, you don't have to see the whole staircase, just trust that the next step will be available if you step in faith. And so it's taken me a long time to do that. I used to be very in my head, but now I do that pretty regularly. So let's jump into emotions. What are emotions? What are they? How do they work? Why do we even have them? How can we best use them? So we're going to play a little game here. I hope you guys can all see the screen from where you're at. If anybody's on a phone, my apologies. The pictures I hope are big enough. So what we're going to do is, for each of the pictures I'm going to show you below, I think there's 6 or 7. What I want you to do is see if you can figure out what the person in the picture is feeling based on what you see. Okay. And then what are you feeling about the picture? Okay. So what are they feeling? What are you feeling about the picture? Okay. Can't get it wrong. There's no wrong answers here. This is all perception. Okay. What about this guy? What are your thoughts on this? And I welcome conversation, or if you want to put something in the chat window, if you don't feel like saying anything, whatever works for you. What do you think he's feeling right now?
It looks like pain to me.
Pain, I heard. Okay.
Rage.
Rage. What else?
Anger.
Anger. Okay.
I think he.
Go ahead.
I think he could be feeling some sort of joy.
Yeah.
Looks
Tell me
like
more about
victory
that.
to me.
The reason why I say joy is because again, I see why everybody says angry, but also it's a joy. It's his eyes. It's almost a joy of a smile that he's trying to break into. The muscles in his neck are upward. I mean, I see all of that with anger, but I also see joy.
Yes.
There's something about joy.
There you go. So interesting that, and there's no right or wrong answer. I don't know this person, but isn't it interesting how we can see anger, we can see victory, we can see joy in this. So what, and who was just talking? Was that Pat?
Yes.
Okay. So what did you feel about the picture? What was the emotion that you brought up?
It was joy. I think he's just feeling overwhelmed. A joyous moment, like a winning moment.
A winning moment.
Yeah. Maybe, you know.
Nice. I can feel the winning energy in your voice. All right, excellent. So how about this little guy? Let's feel into him. What could he possibly be feeling?
Sadness.
Sad. Yeah.
Sadness. Yeah, he's got a little tear there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything
I
else?
don't want to say pain again, but
Okay, pain.
it could work.
That's okay. There's no wrong answers. So pain. Anything else? Any other possibilities?
This looks like his first day at school. He didn't want to leave home.
That would be me.
Or his last day, not wanting to leave.
Yeah, yeah.
There we go.
I'll take that one, Pat.
Yeah.
So
There are the
what ab-
educators on the line here.
yeah.
It looks like he's saying goodbye to somebody
Yeah.
and he's
could be.
feeling sorrow.
Yeah. Yeah, we can't see the situation. What if, this is just hypothetical, what if he'd been asking for a puppy for a year and he just got it?
Oh,
Joy, yeah,
could be tears of joy.
happiness.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
maybe tears of joy.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. Again, we can't tell,
Yeah.
but
All
there's,
I know is that it made me want to go help the little guy.
yeah,
What the
yeah,
problem was.
yeah. Give him a hug.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, you guys doing great. What about this
I'm bored.
board? Yeah.
That's a famous line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He looks like he's deep in thought.
Yeah,
Deep
it's
in thought.
contemplative.
Yeah, contemplative. Yeah. So he could be bored. Maybe he's sad he doesn't have anyone to play with, or maybe he's
Yeah.
planning to take over the world.
That's got a little spark in his eyes.
He's
there.
got a little spark there. You don't know.
Or
He just-
somebody's bullying him and he's got a plan coming right about now.
Yeah, it could be a little revenge going on.
Mhm.
Oh boy.
I see you.
Yeah, that's right. I see you. Yeah, yeah. So again, interesting. And so what was your feeling about him? What was your first response when you saw him? In
He's so
yourself,
cute.
He
He's so
is cute.
cute.
He is
isn't he? Yeah, yeah. He's a doll.
He's got gray hair.
Yeah,
For me, the
Yeah.
response was just, I wonder what he's thinking about.
yeah, yeah. You want to go up and have a conversation? Yeah. So what about this pair?
Oh. Looks like sisters, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Looks like my niece.
Yeah.
They're either really happy or they're really fighting. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah, could be either, couldn't it? Yeah, because you look at their faces and they could either be in that moment of just having a good time or about to kill each other.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Best friends forever.
Yeah,
right.
Was made of that.
EFF.
yeah. At the end of the day,
Looked like
that's
somebody told them to smile. They're taking a picture of them.
yeah, right. Yeah, they're busy having fun, and some adult came along.
I don't know. When I say smile, they don't go that vibrant. It's like, oh, what am I supposed to be? Who am I posing for?
Yeah.
I
Maybe
see the older.
surprise.
Go
I
ahead.
see the older one looking like, yeah, she's got that sinister smile. Like, yeah, we're taking this picture, but I'm about to crack your neck.
Yeah, she's got her in a headlock. Right?
Mhm. Yeah, it's all over when this is done.
Sinister.
Mm.
Well, we will never know. Hopefully, we
So
won't see him on the
scary.
post office anytime soon. Now, these are not people.
Aw.
Yeah,
Oh.
okay, that was pretty obvious. Yeah,
Yeah.
and so we have it on pretty good authority that animals typically don't think themselves into negative emotions. They can be influenced there, but they're joyful. That's why we like them around. The kitten might be saying, get this puppy off of me, but
Mhm.
but it looks like they're pretty peaceful, and I could feel the love just pour out of you guys as soon as we showed the picture. So I think there's not a lot of question on this one.
Yeah. I think that puppy's got that kitty's back.
Yeah, maybe so. And our last one, this little cutie.
Mhm.
What is she feeling right now?
Joy.
She's
Joy.
joyous.
Yeah.
Looks like joy,
Joy.
doesn't it?
I feel like someone just told her to say cheese.
Cheese.
Yeah. Smile. Yeah.
Yeah, she was minding her own business and another adult came along and smile for my camera.
I thought Grandma just came in the room and lit her up.
There you
Mhm.
go. Yeah. So it could anywhere from joy and love to maybe mild annoyance.
Go, go.
Right. Quite a range. So interesting, huh?
Yeah.
So what did you learn about your emotions on this? What did you learn about what you were seeing?
I respond without
That other
knowing why.
people,
Yeah. What else? I heard somebody else.
I was trying to say other people can read what is going on with you by your face, what you're doing, what you're presenting.
Yet to some degree, and yet we had in some cases we had quite a gap.
Right.
What the readings are. So maybe there's a little room for doubt in whether we can truly read somebody. Probably, I mean, if you're intuitive, which I'm sure that all of you are here, then you're tapping into that part of you as well, which is picking up maybe the underlying emotions. So what about your perspective on them? You felt one thing, and then a lot of you felt something different, right? When a new perspective popped up in your mind or somebody else said something, did you feel how quickly your emotions shifted?
Yeah.
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 Yes. So that's the first lesson. Right? By simply changing our perspective, we change how we feel.
Deep.
Yeah. The topic did not change. The picture did not change. But we changed our perspective on the picture. And so our emotional state changed a bit. And by the way, my wife, Suzanne, who's on this call, I thank her for a number of the pictures because she picked these out for a law of attraction workshop we did probably 3 years ago almost.
Yeah, it was at a church.
Okay. Yeah, several years ago. All right, great. You
I
guys
like what Jeffrey put in the chat box. He said, what you see doesn't tell the whole story.
Yeah.
So that's very true also.
It's interesting what a great awareness for us to have in this time of such great turbulence on the planet, where it can be difficult to understand the other person or the other people. What you just can't see what they're going through, and a lot of people are suffering, but they keep the smile, the false smile on, or they don't look over here, everything's fine, I'm just fine, and they're dying inside. So right, it helps us to maybe dive a little deeper into our compassion and know that if somebody, particularly if somebody's coming at us from an attack standpoint, verbally or otherwise, that nobody does that when they're in harmony with themselves. Right? That happens when somebody is suffering. And so you can't tell by looking, and it gives us maybe the invitation to not be triggered ourselves and maybe invite a further discussion, maybe help that person if that's your thing. It might not be. As a coach, it's my natural inclination to want to find out what's going on and see if I can help them diffuse the energy that they're dealing with inside. Great awarenesses. You guys are mind-blowing here.
And it's funny because, we always mask our emotions, and especially now with everybody literally wearing a mask, you really can't see what is behind people. But, we're good at putting on a good face. But now, when we don't have to put on a good face because we're behind a mask.
Right, right. And so what does that do to your intuitive side, do you think, Pat?
It kind of makes me look at people in their eyes now.
Okay.
Like I really have to look a little deeper. I have a student, I work with a lot of Muslim students, and I have a student who wears a hijab, and she wears it so far over her face that when she wears the mask, I literally can't see her at all. And we were having a meeting last week, and I was watching her on camera, even though we were all together. And I had to tell her to move her hijab back because I totally saw nothing but darkness, And so, I think with wearing the mask now, we have to, try to look more into people's eyes, because I don't really think your eyes can give away. You see pain in people's eyes, even if they try to hide them
Yeah.
through bags. They might try to hide them with makeup or you know, for us women, concealer, or men. But you know, when you start to see the lines and stuff, and you could see pain or a tear come, you know something's wrong.
Yeah. You're very
You know what they
empathic.
say? The eyes are the window to the soul. So that would,
Yes.
hopefully we would just see their soul instead of, you know, we would just do the namaste thing.
Well, there, Craig, you're onto something. I think that this is what I've noticed in my own experience in the last year, and I'm also intentionally working on tapping into my intuitive side, the soul connection side. I would invite everybody on this call because you're all these leading edge creators here. You're so intuitive that to see if you can find the heart-based connection to the other person while you're reading their body language and looking into their eyes. See if you can feel the energy that they are radiating. Okay, this takes quieting our own minds. We'll get into that in a little bit. But see if you can actually tap into the energy that's behind the surface. When you get good at this, and like I said, I've been practicing for a while, but when you can really make that heart-based connection, man, you really connect and the person feels heard and they will open up to you. And sometimes you can affect a healing just by being present in that intense, powerful, positive energy field.
I don't know if I want to connect with everybody now. I think it's I think it might be too much.
Well, as an empath, which is what most of us are in this work, that's very wise. Okay, so you get to choose what feels right to you. Your job as an individual on this planet is not to go and heal everybody. It's to heal yourself, ourselves, and then whoever feels like we can reach and connect with, that's who we're drawn to, and that's who we connect with. Okay. When I started coaching some years ago, I took anybody because I just wanted to be a coach. It was just so much fun, and I wanted to get my practice going, and I got just about anyone. And they were all over the map. Some I helped magnificently, and others it was like climbing up a mountain with a rock on your back, and we never got anywhere. And I've since learned to be very discerning about who I share my energy with, not only from the state of helping, but receiving as well.
Yes.
So you don't have to heal everyone, just help those who feel like the right connection for you. And the neat thing is that when we become more selective and narrow the number of people we deal with, I tell this to business owners who are coaches and spiritual workers who are trying to get clients. If you actually narrow the scope of your clientele to the ones you only want to work with, then not only will you be having fun and be doing a lot of good, but the nature of attraction, this law of attraction, means we'll be at a higher vibration, and we actually will attract more clients that way because our energy is higher. We're more connected to God. We get more guidance. When we get into the emotional scale, this will all kind of tie together a little bit more. So be selective. It's good for you. So what are emotions then? Let's get into this a little bit. What the definition of an emotion? It's like you can go into the physiology. You can say, okay, well, I got this feeling, but what is this? Well, being the scientist brain that I have, engineering, I had to figure all this out mechanically first before I could adapt myself into the spiritual realm. So here's what I discovered. And this is, to me, this is still mind-blowing. I've been teaching this 12 years. Okay, so this is you. Forgive me for not being more detailed. I don't know what you all look like. So this is the generic you. Okay, you have a thought. Okay, this look like anybody's day? Okay. Over the course of a whole day, guess how many thoughts we have?
Wow.
Yeah. Now, who can know for sure? I've heard 50,000. I've heard 12,000. I've heard 100,000. Doesn't matter. It's a lot. Right? That gives you an idea of how chattery our minds are. Okay. And maybe it depends on how much coffee you had. You know, so some days might be 600,000 if I've had a couple of cups of coffee. So this is going on all the time. We have thought after thought after thought. But here's what's interesting. What else happens when I think? Okay, when I have a thought, you know what else happens? I have an emotion. Every thought has an emotional response. Okay. And those emotions are actually, can be, if you're tuned in, felt in the body. So every thought creates an emotion. Every emotion comes from a thought. And every emotion can be felt in the body if we're tuned to it. Sometimes we're not. Okay. Which means that we're having 60,000 emotions every day.
Yeah, definitely.
You can probably feel that, right? Be all over the map. Now, often there are a lot of the same emotions. We tend to, this is a law of attraction principle, we tend to attract and think about things that are on the same vibrational wavelength, the same frequency, meaning they feel the same. So often, you wake up in the morning and maybe you stub your toe, you spill your coffee, you brush your teeth and forget to, you put hairspray on it instead of toothpaste, whatever it is. And so those, we tend to stay on the same emotional frequency, the same kind of emotion that we start the day with. We'll get into momentum in a little bit. So emotions are the physiological response to our thoughts. Okay. Now, most people believe, or have come to believe, that their thoughts they have no control over their thoughts a lot of the time, or they have no control over their emotions. Sometimes, like, oh, I'm just emotional and I don't know why. When you realize that thoughts are creating the emotions and you're being emotional and you don't know why, there's a thought behind it. There's thought streams. Usually it's a series of thoughts. Okay. And that's how we call it reverse engineering in the engineering world. We take the result and we look backwards to see what was the cause. So this is your first clue into, well, how can I start identifying what it is that I'm thinking that's causing the feelings that I'm having? Feelings being the body, emotions being like anger or joy. They happen at the same time. So I will interchange emotions and feelings, the words sometimes. They mean the same thing because they happen simultaneously. Okay. Where do we feel emotions? What's your guess? Just jump in. Where do you notice emotions in your body?
Heart.
Heart. What else?
Stomach.
Stomach. Anywhere else?
Head.
Head. Okay.
Sweat glands.
Sweat glands. Oh, that's
a
okay.
good one. Neck and
Yeah.
shoulders.
Ah, okay. Interesting. Yeah.
Brian. Or a pain in the neck.
There you go. Yeah. Yeah. Not gonna touch that one. So the core of emotions are felt in the solar plexus. That's the center of emotions. Now, where's the solar plexus? It's below the heart and behind the stomach, kind of halfway through the body. Okay, right about where your sternum is, your breastbone. Okay, straight through. The solar plexus is a plexus or cluster, a matrix of nerves, brain-like cells. They have very similar property to brain cells, and you'll find out at some point, I'm not sure we'll talk about it today, brain cells are actually receiving, transmitting devices of consciousness energy. They're not storage cabinets for memories. Okay. So your solar plexus is the primary place that you feel emotion. Now, solar plexus has these nerve tendrils that go through the whole body. Okay, so our whole body is an emotional receiver. Okay. But it's centered in the solar plexus. That's why some people say heart, or they say the gut, because it's right where the solar plexus is. Right? It's below the heart and behind the stomach. So we feel it in that same general area, but the actual organ is the solar plexus. Not that it matters, just so you know that you've got an organ built into your body specifically for feeling emotions. That's how important emotions are. The design of this body was not an accident. Okay? The emotions are so important to our functioning, a joyful functioning, our successful functioning, our abundant functioning in life, that it was given its own organ. So when you get more tuned into the body, and this can take practice, you can use your whole body as an emotional sensor. And it can then help, it can give you more information than just the core emotions or that come into the solar plexus do. Like when Jennifer talked about feeling pain in the neck, well, the body mimics the emotions. Okay? and it mimics it in the location in the body that is relative to the thought that we're having. So when you have a pain in the neck, literally, there's somebody who's a pain in the neck. The universe ties the thoughts and the emotions together like that. So you find when I had the brain tumor was in my brain, of course, and I was a computer guy, and the brain is the computer of the body. So the tumor, the emotions I was feeling, I had headaches, and somebody said head, I was feeling in my head all the time, but I ignored it and grew bigger and bigger and finally turned into a brain tumor. Had to, right? It's just the cause and effect. It's how it works. Okay. So why do we have different emotions? Like what causes differing emotions? Well, we've kind of run around it, but let's get right into it. This is what blew my mind, probably more than all the other things, particularly when I was brand new to this. Okay, well, here's you. Okay, again, I took a few liberties on the details. Some of you have more hair than this. Okay, but then there's the rest of you. We call it inner being in our terminology. It comes from the Esther Hicks materials, but it can be your soul, it can be your higher self, who you really are, your non-physical part, your spiritual self. It's the part of you that is not in the physical body, but is supporting you in the physical body. It's flowing into the physical body. It's your spiritual self. It's the eternal self. It's the part that is connected with all that is. It's connected. It's the spark of God. And it goes with you through all your lifetimes. It is the eternal you. Okay? The physical you is sort of a dip down into physical reality, but you never lose the connection. There's always a connection between the two. Okay. Why is this important? Well, not only does it provide continuity when you show up in this physical body, you've already got some idea of who you want to be, right? Because you are already that. You've been that for many, many lifetimes. I've been a coach many, many lifetimes because it's my passion. It's built up. But when we come into the physical form, what happens is we have the ability to create a gap between our spiritual self and our physical self. And we do that through thought. Okay. So here's how it works. And there won't be a test, so you don't have to get all this right, okay? It took me 12 years to figure this out. So your inner being is always thinking the highest thoughts. God is always love. There's no time when God is not love. Love, joy, appreciation, empowerment. Okay? And your inner being is an extension of God, your higher self. Okay, so your God self looks at, let's say, a bunny rabbit. It's because it's the only icon I could find. And it's thinking, look at that beautiful bunny rabbit. That's all God thinks. It's all your higher self thinks, is the highest thoughts about that rabbit. And maybe in a moment where you're not thinking about your car payment or, you know, that you have to go to work tomorrow, whatever, and you're in a joyful moment, you're thinking the same thought. Look at that beautiful bunny rabbit. Okay. There's no separation between the thoughts. Inner being's thoughts match your thoughts. You're at the highest frequency now. You're matching its thoughts, right? No separation. So you feel love. Emotion number one, the highest emotion there is. And we'll get in the emotional scale in a minute. There are other emotions like freedom and joy and empowerment, which are all at the same frequency, the highest one of love, but love is the easiest one to relate to. Okay. Now, your inner being continues to look at that rabbit and see nothing but appreciation and love. Now, that rabbit got out and trampled through your garden once. Okay. You're not so happy now. Okay. That darn rabbit has been running through my garden again. Okay. You feel frustration. Your vibration lowered, but notice the gap between the two perspectives. You see that gap, right? So now you're in a lower frequency thought. Okay. That's all. It's a lower frequency thought. And so now you're feeling frustration. Okay. Okay. Inner being still gazing love on that little rabbit. Okay. But now that little rabbit just ran through your garden and ate all the plants. And it does it every single day. There's nothing you can do to get rid of the dang rabbit. Okay. Bigger gap. Now you're feeling powerless. I can't do anything about that rabbit. I want to get rid of that rabbit. I want my garden back. Okay. You see there's a gap between the two frequencies, as we like to say. Okay. That's what creates emotions. It's the gap between what your higher self, your inner being, is thinking about what you're focused on and what you're thinking. That's what causes emotions. Okay? So your inner being's thoughts, your thoughts, the gap is what creates the emotion. Okay? It's that simple. Okay? And what is the organ that picks up that vibrational difference? The solar plexus. That's what it's designed to do. It picks up the two frequencies and creates an emotion based on how close or far apart that they are. It's really that simple. Okay? And there's no wrong emotions as a result. There isn't a bad emotion. There's just how far off center am I from what my higher self is trying to guide me towards. The way God sees things, which is always perfect, always moving forward, always in alignment. Right? My emotions tell me how aligned I am with my inner being's view, or not aligned, okay, at any point in time. Moment by moment by moment, we can shift. Every one of those 60,000 thoughts creates an emotional response. How close is the thought to what your higher self inner being is thinking or not? That's all. It's just like a GPS system. How close am I to being on track or not? And the reason this is important is because when we're in this harmony, when we're in this high frequency and tuned into the inner being, that's when we feel and receive the guidance that God has for us. God sees everything, knows all the past, knows all our desires, is trying to guide us towards everything we want. Are we listening? Usually not. Usually we're down there in frustration about that silly rabbit. Right? But we're not listening to the guidance that says, plant something different. Here's the plant. I'm going to give it to you if you just get up here and listen to me. You've got to get up, but you've got to get up to my radio station. If you're not up at the love radio station, God's talking all the time up there, all the time, 24/7. There's messages constantly streaming at that high frequency. But we were usually not up there, so we can't hear it, and then we get frustrated and feel powerless. So the secret is to tune ourselves by how we feel up to that frequency, and then we start to get the stream of intuitive impulses, the guidance. Somebody shows up in our lives and says, you know, here's how I handle rabbits. Well, now we're receptive to it, so we can hear it. The guy was always there, but we couldn't hear it till we got up to that frequency. That's why these are so important. So therefore, and I want to emphasize this, and here's how I emphasized it. Your emotions are your built-in guidance system. Yay! If you take nothing else from this conversation today, please take this away. Your emotions are the guidance system. It's the most important thing in your body. And when we learn to follow them and listen to them as opposed to what's in the head, the thoughts that we've been taught by other people, other experiences, then all of a sudden everything else takes care of itself. Guidance kicks in. Okay? So before we go any further, I talk a lot. Like I said, I can talk for the next 6 hours on this. I want to know if you guys have any questions on this or any pushback. Maybe you don't agree with what I said, or maybe a different experience or perspective.
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead, Craig.
So you were mentioning feeling people and being empathetic. Well, I always did, but so I just did. I never sought to put it into words.
Hmm.
You know, I would sense you, and I would sense, well, I would sense kind of if I could do something or if I needed to do something. But that's as far as I got interpreted it, but it was all automatic. There wasn't any thought. It was like, uh-oh. And then there's the other people like, I wish I could help them. They're beyond me. It's best to spend my time elsewhere. That one was a tough one to come to grips with. It's like, wait a minute, Craig, you always help everybody, but there ain't no point in spending the time where you actually, it's like, I'd like to help, but you're just not willing to help yourself. And I'm sorry, I've got other things to do. You know, if it's going to do some good, I'm happy to be there. But
well, exactly. What you came to is you just proved the point I was mentioning earlier. You've instinctively learned, and you don't have to know any of this, by the way, to be wildly successful. I have books on these shelves back here of people who don't know a thing about the law of attraction, but have made millions of dollars and are leading joyful lives just because they figured out, listen to how I feel. Okay, and you figured that out, and you just said, okay, well, if they're not going to help themselves, well, it doesn't feel good to me.
Right.
Right. So you followed your guidance. Yay. There you go. Keep doing that.
Well, I guess I was like, well, how do I actually put it into words, or how do I dissect it? And it's, but I'm like, there isn't really any need to dissect it. It just is.
It just is. So, but the thing is, in our society, again, you're really helping illustrate some points here. So thank you for the conversation. Our society does not value emotions. In fact, if anything, and particularly with men, our society says emotions are bad. You're an emotional person. Stop being so emotional, or don't you dare be angry. Or if you're depressed, just get away from me. Right? We don't value the emotions, and we certainly don't value. In my family, my dad was highly emotional. He was abusively emotional at times. He'd get angry at any little thing. He had no idea that he was creating all the messes that he lived in. But as a kid, when you're yelled at all the time, what do? You have to shut down your emotions because you just can't suffer that pain. Right? So the survival mechanism kicks in, and it numbs, in my case, numbs the solar plexus. You can literally numb, and it's like shock. You can numb parts of your body. And a lot of people in our society right now are walking around with this part of themselves pretty numb. And so my journey has been to come back online and to feel the emotions, not be afraid to express them and get excited about things. And who cares what my dad thinks? I had to shut him out of my life because his toxic energy I could not heal being around his energy.
There you go.
Yeah.
I know I grew up, Mom, it was always, if you don't got something good to say, don't say nothing at all. So in other words, shut the emotions down and get the hell out of the way.
Yeah. So our journey then as a society, to me, and what I'm so passionate about, understanding this, I had to come again to it intellectually because my heart was not online. That helped me then get down to opening my heart up and being able to make connections. To me, this is the journey. And this is why the divine feminine side, which is the receptive side, the male is the creative action side, needs to come back into balance. We haven't gotten that side that receives and feels the emotions, and we're all head based. So this is coming into a balance, but a lot of the male side has to the control side needs to slowly evaporate. It's just the system won't work the way it is right now. And that's why it's collapsing. And that's why we needed things like the virus that has no name, I won't say it, to get us to really get in our face and feel these things.
So Kevin, I have a question, but I actually think that it's where you're going next, which is getting into the emotional scale. Because my question is around, I liked your chart where even though we're having those 60,000 thoughts, there are also 60,000 emotions.
Yeah.
And so even though our emotional guidance, it's our guidance, some of the emotion is not always helpful either. So
well, the emotion's always helpful,
right.
But we judge it to be bad.
Correct.
Yeah, great. That's beautifully stated. Yes. So yeah, you summarized basically the next step. That's actually beautifully said. So let's talk about the emotional scale a little bit here. You can see like it's already 8:30. How quickly we can get into. We could talk here for hours, and it would be an amazing, fun discussion. But so let's talk about the emotional scale part, because that's probably the most important tool that you'll have in terms of determining what to do with your emotions. So let's, Carolyn, I see your hands up. Can you hang on just a second? Or did you not mean to? Just hang on a second. So the emotional scale, this is a scale, comes from the Abraham Hicks teachings, Esther Hicks channeled teachings. It's a linear scale of emotions. It's actually exponential, but we'll get into that later. So you can't really see it on the screen. So what I'm going to do is, hang on just one second. Can I? I'm just going to try to paste this into the chat window. Let me see if I can do that for you guys. Be easier to see that way. Yeah, here we go.
If you have a phone, you can just snap a picture of the screen.
Yeah.
For the quick one in your phone.
So there's the emotional scale. I popped that into the chat window. Don't worry about every emotion. It's not important to look at every single one. What's important to know is this is the degree of connection or disconnection. Okay, so we'll just pop to the next one. So this is up the top 5 emotions. The very highest frequency is all of these emotions: joy, knowing, empowerment, freedom, love, and appreciation. Okay, they're just different contexts for the same feeling. Okay, so it's the same frequency. It's connection, no separation from your inner being, from your higher God self. Okay? When you're feeling that, you are flowing God consciousness through you. You are connected. Okay? Next one down is passion. Just a tiny amount of resistance and passion, a little bit of negative energy, but not much. Okay? Then down to enthusiasm, eagerness, happiness, positive expectation, belief, optimism. Below that is hope, and it keeps dropping. So you can feel the energy slightly start to drop as I go down the scale. Bottom half, okay? 17 was anger, and then we get down to revenge, hatred and rage, jealousy, insecurity, guilt, unworthiness, and then fear, grief, depression, despair, and powerlessness. Okay? That's as far disconnected as you can get. Okay? That's you completely, almost completely closing the valve to your higher self-consciousness, that stream of guidance. Okay? And this is done by the thoughts we're thinking. It's just a matter of frequency. Okay. So again, there's no right or wrong emotions. These are not bad emotions, contrary to what you've been taught. Okay. Anger is not a bad emotion. It's guidance. Revenge is not a bad emotion. It's guidance. It tells you how far off track you are. Okay. It's when we act on them, then society says, oh, wait a second, you're not allowed to take revenge. And no, now I'm going to take revenge on you. And law of attraction brings you together and you get to play out the revenge game. You see a lot of this going on right now. People are being forced into facing their negative emotions they've been ignoring. And so now they're coming up and people don't know what to do. So they start acting. I don't advise you to act when you have these emotions, but I do advise you to feel them. Okay, and we'll get into a tool near the end here. So I'll kind of rush along to get to that on how to deal with those low emotions. Because to me, this is one of the more important aspects of what we're going to talk about today. How to deal with those negative emotions within us without involving somebody else, without getting into a tangle with somebody else. Okay, there's practical, simple ways to do this. Okay, so to summarize about emotions. Emotions come from thoughts. Emotions are felt in the solar plexus. Emotions are divine guidance. They're how connected we are or not to our inner being. And we can always improve how we feel just by choosing different thoughts. Not always that easy, but anyone can do it. I know Carolyn had her hand up. Looks like you put your hand down. Okay. Let's move on here. And again, jump in. If you got a question, either raise your hand or just unmute yourself. Okay. Interesting. Do you have any questions? How's this landing with you? The idea that your emotions are actually that important. Carolyn, I see you got your hand back up. Go ahead and unmute yourself, jump in.
Hi, Kevin. I don't know if I have a question so much. It's just that awareness of, I really like your diagram of, sorry, lost a bit, but the space where the emotions are, that to become, my question in my heart is, how do I become more aware of the gap and what the emotion is, and how do I work with that?
Yeah, great question.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. The first thing is to notice that you're having an emotional response. If you're thinking, you're feeling, you're having emotions. If you don't feel anything, then there's some work to be done to tuning in to the body. Like, okay, what am I feeling? Where am I feeling it? What is the emotion that I have here? Am I feeling frustration right now, or am I more relaxed? Maybe I'm feeling hopeful. And what is the emotion? Maybe I thought I was supposed to be happy right now because maybe I got family over and dang it, I got to put a smile on. But seriously, I'm way down here in powerlessness. Okay. Identify the authentic emotion. When you can identify the authentic emotion, then you know which way to go on the emotional scale. And we don't nearly have enough time. We got about 10 minutes left here to talk about different ways to do this. But the important thing is, you remember that on the emotional scale, the little green arrow on the left side, let me see if I can pop that back up here real quick. Relief, okay? All that matters is that we get relief. Okay. So when you're thinking about something and you know you're not feeling good, you don't even have to necessarily find the emotion specifically. It's either going to be good feeling or not so good feeling or really bad feeling. And then you just find a different way to think about the subject that you're thinking about that brings you relief. You feel and try different words like, okay, you know, that person's really annoying me right now, but maybe they're having a bad day. Okay. Maybe it's not about me at all. Relief. Right? You just shifted your perspective like we did at the beginning, you get emotional relief. Okay? So it doesn't matter where you are, it's about finding your way back up. And there's that book, Asking It Is Given. That's a really great book. I recommend it to everybody. There's 22 different processes to do this, find relief. Okay, does that help? We got to move on here.
I just
Please.
would like to add, if that's okay, Kevin,
Yes,
and
please.
if you can leave it there. So for all of you, Kevin has these great little cards, so I actually have them here. And I wanted to just share, if that's okay. I'm actually visiting family right now, and we're dealing with a teenager. He's my nephew, and he is creating a lot of emotional distress for our family right now. And so I'm here supporting my family and his younger brother. And it's interesting because as I look at the emotion, I'm literally using the emotional scale and then supporting my sister to use the emotional scale. And because we bounce down into anger really quickly, because the things he are doing is teenager things, but it's having really adult effects. So anyway, so we bounce down into anger very quickly. And there's no stopping us. We're human beings, and that's exactly where we're going to go. And
I wouldn't give your power up that easily.
Yeah, and so we have to work our way back up. Now, you know, he's 17, he's a child, but that's the way we do it. Okay, let's get back into, like, we're consciously working back up that emotional scale. Okay, he's 17, he doesn't know what he's doing, you know, and you start working up this COVID and the isolation and not seeing his friends, and we just slowly work up to, you know, then we can get to disappointment pretty quickly, and then boredom we have a little bit of fun with right now, because part of it is boredom on his part. They're not doing normal high school things, and so they're creating that hormonal stress in places that, you know, they would typically be doing with their friends and at school. And we get back to hopefulness and optimism, but it's something that we're using pretty regularly right now, because you know, there's just a lot going on, and I know so many people are feeling that, and it really helps to do this with someone where we take a deep breath together, because my poor cousin, she'll get to pessimism pretty quick. Like, I don't know how we can heal from this. Breathe. Let's move up from pessimism. You know, where can we find contentment right now? What thought can get us there? And we slowly shift that emotion.
Awesome. Yeah, so there, Jennifer's a great example. We've known each other for a while now and had these conversations, and she's actively putting this into practice and creating results, right? Slow, you know, you've got to be deliberate about it, and you've got to not give up. That's why for me, knowing the mechanics, how it works, for me was very helpful, because I can say, okay, well, I'm having a hard time, but I know this works. Okay, I just keep coming back to it, Oh, it gets a little easier now. And I'm getting the habit of moving up the emotional scale. I don't take on other people's emotions. I don't have to, right? I can see them for who they are. I can love them from the source perspective, from the God perspective, but not get sucked into their energy. And by doing that, I'm now shining that highlight near them, and they want it so badly, but they don't know how to find it. And now you become the example, and now they can find it a little easier. Doing the work, brilliant. Sorry, go ahead.
In our experience, there's been a number of persons during the pandemic who have fallen into depression or feeling really defeated and despondent. How does a person like that help to lift themselves? Are there some steps they can take?
Yes, great question. Yeah, let's jump right to that. There's more we could talk about. The law of attraction is a core component of this, but I think we'll just skip over that for now, and maybe in some other way we can come back around to it. It's important to understand that what we're focused on, the energy we're sending out, is actually being reflected back all the time in our environment. And that's what makes it so hard at times when we're up in joy and love and we got momentum built up at that frequency. Then the universe is just a mirror. It's a vibrational mirror. It's just physics. Whatever we're sending out gets bounced back to us. And so we get joyful, loving experiences back. But when we get down there, we start to slip down into powerlessness, and the environment we're in is powerless. People around us are feeling terrible. Then all we see is powerlessness around us. And because we haven't learned, and this is the key, to separate out how I'm feeling from what I'm experiencing, then we use what we're experiencing to feel, and then we get into that loop. Like Jennifer said earlier, it's just human. We were around an angry person and we get angry. That's not normal. Okay? It's typical, but it's not normal. What's normal is that we decide how we're going to feel by what we focus on. It's just very difficult when you're bottom. So I'm going to jump right to the hard stuff here. And this, yeah, I got to give this to you. This is because we're out of time, and this to me is one of the most important things here. Okay. How do you get out of the emotional scale jail? Okay. You're down at the bottom. Fear, grief, depression, despair, powerlessness. Well, again, it's a loop. There's momentum has built up, and it's cycling and cycling. Nobody wants to be there. Okay, it feels horrible. Things fall apart. Your body decays. Everything goes wrong when you're down there for a length of time. In fact, you can die if you can't get out of this. Okay, so remember what the direction is: up. Okay. How do I find relief from being down here at the bottom? Okay, by moving up the emotional scale, one emotion at a time. Okay. When we're down here at fear, depression, despair, powerlessness, remember relief. Where do we go to? Okay. Now, everybody's going to fall off their chair when they first read this. What are you telling me, Kevin? You want us to feel revenge and hatred and rage? Yes. Yes, I do. Because you can't, on any given topic that you're thinking about, if you're at the bottom, you can't go around it. You have to go through it. You can't jump to joy about something you're feeling powerlessness about. You have to move through it. Okay, but there's a secret to it. And I want everybody to pay close attention. Okay, if you're going to try this out, you got to understand how it works. Create a safe space to be alone physically and go there. It could be in your basement, it can be in your car. A lot of people do this work in their cars. Okay, no people around. Okay, if you have people around, they're going to be at that same frequency. Okay, you're going to attract people who are in rage if you're in rage. Okay, so you got to be alone. Okay, explore those bad feeling thoughts. What is making me feel powerless right now? What is it? Let's explore that. Okay, I don't have any money. I don't have a job. I don't have a relationship. My body's decaying. How do I feel about that? I feel horrible. Get angry about it. Allow yourself to move up into it. What are you mad about? What really pisses you off about being down in that feeling? That powerless feeling. Who did this to me? Okay. Ultimately, we create the reality, but in that moment, it's very helpful to blame somebody else or blame society or pick whoever it is you're angry about and move up into that rage. Okay. Do not act on the emotions. Okay. This is the key. This is what people do not do. They have to move up into rage. If you're in powerlessness, there's no way to survive if you can't release those emotions, but people keep them trapped and then they explode. Right? And then they feel guilty or they get put in jail and then they go back to powerlessness again and then they explode again. It's all out of control. If you do it deliberately, move yourself up into these feelings and then feel them in the body until they start to soften. Then you will start to release them and you'll start to get back control. You will be deliberately moving yourself up the emotional scale. Hit a mattress with your fist, scream into a pillow or in your car, break cardboard boxes. I have a whole bunch of them in the other room here with a bat. Strike or hit a punching bag. I've got one of those too, and boxing gloves and a baseball bat. And I used to use it all the time. I don't anymore because I know how to manage my emotions. Allow yourself to cry, scream, sob as needed. Okay. Having a coach, I coach people around this stuff a lot, can be helpful. You can do it by yourself, but follow every one of these steps. Okay. No going around them. Okay. But if you do this, you'll have immense results. I've had people who do this with me, and they just give them a hug and they sob for 2 minutes in my arms because they have released so much toxic energy out of their bodies just by in 15 seconds. Okay, so I don't know if that helps, Reverend O'Connor. We dove really deep really quick, but you guys are deep people, so I think you're ready to handle it.
That's
all
good.
right all right, thank you.
Can I also just add quick, Kevin, because the series is Breaking Barriers for a Healthier You. And so often I see in my coaching practice, and I know you do as well, that when we refuse to feel that rage, that part of the scale, those emotions, because we're taught that anger is bad. We're especially women are taught that anger is bad, not to be angry. So then you're either snapping in the wrong places, or you numb it. And that's where a lot of people will grab food and they will numb those uncomfortable feelings, the feelings at the lower end, or they'll sit in front of the television when a walk around the block would have felt so much better. So really starting to see where those lower emotions are affecting all of your health, which is what this whole series is really about.
Yeah, great summary. So let's do this then, because I would like to provide the people who are watching this with these 5 tools, which will continue on this conversation, but we're out of time. So is it possible to create a handout or something to go with this video, or some way that I can provide this information to you? What are your thoughts? I don't know how you guys work there.
Go ahead. Can you show that too? Because these are recorded, so people can come back and watch them.
Okay. All right. Well, real quick
And if
then.
you send it to us, we'll share it with everyone.
Okay, perfect. Well, I'll just put the screens up here and not go through them then. Okay, so people can stop the screen. Okay, so let's see. First one. Okay. Stop, drop, and flow. Making the time to express anger that we just talked about. Bookend your day with good feelings. Practice feeling into your body. Remember, that's your antenna for emotions. Okay. Become real sensitive to your body. And then do regular emotional check-ins. I use a timer on my phone to say, how are you feeling, Kevin? Oh yeah, check in. And that's when you train yourself. All right, boys and girls, that's that for me. Thanks for having me here. This was a whole lot of fun. I wish we had 6 hours to talk about this stuff and do some exercises, but hopefully this gets some people started into this journey. There's so much rich information. Just open up to it and you'll find it. So thanks for having me, guys.
Thanks so much, Kevin.
My pleasure.
So I just wanted to remind everyone that all of the discussions that we're having are being recorded. So you can go to the website, and let me just show you. And any of you that are joining us for the first time, you go to firstchurchjamaica.org, and if you click on the Breaking Barriers for a Healthier You, there is so much information. You can see the previous discussions. You can be a part of the challenges. So today we're in week 4, and it was Smarty Pants Wednesday. So complete 2 crossword and Sudoku puzzles. If you didn't get that done, there might still be some time, or maybe you just let that float into your Thursday. But Thursday is National Day of Prayer. So spend a portion of tomorrow in prayer and meditation. So these are really great ideas and challenges. I mean, the team has put together such wonderful material. So if you just go to firstjamaicachurch.org and click on Breaking Barriers for a Healthier You, all of this wonderful information is there. The other great thing that we have is the Facebook page. So this is a group you can join, Breaking Barriers for a Healthier You, one change at a time. And I noticed that the walking groups, I think this might have been you, Jackie, you were, I think you might have designated yourselves as the best looking group. That's the 9 a.m. group at Cunningham Park. So No, best walking group ever, sorry, at Cunningham Park. So a little bit of a challenge to the other walking groups. I know there is a group that goes at 8 a.m. at Cunningham Park. Baisley Pond Park is at 10 a.m. Karen's group is, let's make sure I have that right, Alley Pond Walkers, I believe. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong. That one's also at 10 a.m. But let's make sure we're using the Facebook group. I just think it's such a wonderful, I mean, great information here to keep using, because it's one change at a time. So all of the things that we're learning about over the series is a way to get us started on a lifelong wellness journey. And it's just such great material. So if you've missed any of them and you want to go back and catch any of the repeats, they're all recorded. And again, asking each other questions, finding support, just a really great place to do that. Next Wednesday, I'm going to hand this over to Lucy to talk about, because it's going to be a lot of fun. And I'm excited. It's a little different.
Hi, thank you, Jennifer. As Jennifer mentioned, next week, the Breaking Barriers for a Healthier You continues online and through the walking groups. And on Wednesday, May 12th at 7:30, the Dream Hub is hosting an evening of fun and relaxation. We'll be listening to uplifting music and sipping on our healthy drinks. So bring in your water, your infusions, whatever you like, your juices, and we're going to be painting, or even if you didn't sign up to paint, you might want to watch others paint a beautiful Caribbean inspired scene. And for those of you who don't know, the Dream Hub is a community project and ministry of First Church that offers co-working and empowering resources for current and aspiring entrepreneurs. So if you registered for the paint and sip, we'll make sure that you get your materials in the next few days. And if not, please join us anyway to relax and have a great time with us. Thank you.
I also wanted to mention that the walking groups this week are family plus your pets. Jackie, did you want to say anything more about that?
Yes, it's just it's family fun walk on this Saturday, and if you want to bring your four-legged friends, invite all the members of your families to come and join us on our walk this Saturday. So that one is at a Pat. I know you're not into the pets, Pat, but yeah, still come on out. Still come on out. Yeah, so come on out on Saturday morning. Yes, and Ishmael is going to be there at 8. Are you still doing Cunningham Park this week, Ishmael? Are you still on? For the early morning.
I'll still do it at Cunningham for this week.
Yes. Yes, and if anybody wants to meet Ishmael at 8 o'clock, my group meets at 9, and Karen is meeting at 10, but sometimes I meet a little earlier.
We changed it.
Okay.
Half of us are meeting at 9 and half of us are meeting at 9:30.
Okay, good. All right. So the walking groups are on, and I was saying earlier, I think the weather said we might have some rain, but let's look out for that. But hopefully we'll get to walk just the same on Saturday. All right. And also, I just want to add, our celebration is going to be on is it May 15th? That's our last Saturday. We're going to meet in. We said it was originally going to be at First Church campus, but we're going to Cunningham Park for our celebration Saturday. So it's going to be from 11 to 2, and we're going to be at Cunningham Park. So you'll hear more about that on our celebration Saturday. And that's a family time. Bring out everybody. We're going to have some games. We're going to have Zumba and some fun in the park to celebrate our journey. That's on Saturday, May 15th. All right. So that is what we have for tonight. And I'm going to hand over to Reverend O'Connell to do the final words.
Yeah. So thank you everybody for joining us. Thank you for the marvelous people on the call. There are people we can't see your faces, but as Kevin illustrated to us, our faces tell a story, right? Can I get 2 people who have felt better having been through this presentation tonight. If you feel better, just say your name and say how you feel better. What's the emotion you're feeling?
I will just jump in. I want to say I feel more relaxed. I feel very calm. And Kevin, your voice is very relaxing, very calming. You know,
Thank you.
from a high impact day, I was able to relax and take it all in. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jackie. Someone else?
I guess I'll go. I'm not on camera, but this is Ravine. The emotional scale was very helpful for me. It allowed me to see, how you can go from one emotion to the next and kind of understand how you can use each emotion to get to a better place. So that kind of comforted me, because sometimes you are discouraged and, you worry a lot, but, you find ways you can get to the next step in a positive way. So that helped me. So thank you, Kevin.
Great. Thank you.
I took a screenshot of that, so I have it on my phone as I'm going through those emotions. I know which.
Tell us how you feel.
I still feel, as Jennifer was mentioning, I feel a little apprehensive with just some family personal issues going on. So my thoughts are all over the place, to be honest. But there was something that Kevin did say, or maybe it was someone else about, or how I interpret it is that I can't really bring on anybody else's emotions unless they're willing to help themselves. There's only so far you can walk with a person. And sometimes we have to just let go and let the person also move through their journey. And it's like that saying, if a plane is going down, if you don't put your oxygen mask on first, you can't save anybody else. So with this whole emotional scale, it's about learning how I need to use those steps to save myself.
Thank you, Pat, for sure. Thank you, Ravine. And Craig, you've been effervescent all evening, so I'm going to give you the final word.
I'm getting more understanding of this whole ordeal. I always feel better when I spend a little time with Kevin. So, and you're right about his voice because he speaks the truth. That's the ring that we hear. When somebody's speaking the truth, it sounds different than when they're trying to pull our leg. It feels different. It feels different. That's why you know that it's different.
You're awesome, Craig. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So we want to just remind everyone that this breaking barriers for a healthier you is an invitation. It doesn't end on May 15th. It's an invitation to look at ourselves and our journey and to believe that special things are ahead for each one of us. And as we close tonight, we want to express our deepest appreciation to everyone. And Jennifer, you shared your friend and your colleague and his gifts, and we're all better for it. So thank you.
Thank you.
Kevin, thank you. We'll bring you back because I'm sure after we go through a couple of days of this, we'll have some more how questions. So we'll ask you to help us again. But
yeah, pleasure.
Thank you for joining us. And now let's close with prayer. Oh God, as we cycle towards the end of this day, help us just to let go. Let go of the things of this day so that we might rest tonight. And Lord, mysteriously during the times of rest, you are able to renew us and to put us back together again. So, Lord God, we trust what you're going to do in each of us during this night. So that tomorrow we will imagine ourselves and our world in a better way. Bless us, guide us, and lead us. And we thank you that we are just a small representation of this wonderful world that you have made. Help us to make the best of the human journey, one change at a time. In your holy name we pray. Amen.
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 Thank you.
A good night, everyone. Lucy, can you come off camera for a second? Let's clap
Bye.
Lucy and thank her for hosting us.
Thanks, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Night.
Good night.
Good night.